Hello, this is the March 2014 video edition of the Iowa General Fund Monthly Revenue Memo. My name is Jeff Robinson, Senior Fiscal Analyst for the Iowa Legislative Services Agency, the nonpartisan support agency of the Iowa Legislature. This video covers Iowa General Fund revenue for the first 9 months of fiscal year 2014. I will also discuss recently released employment numbers for the state of Iowa. Net general fund revenue increased $15 million in March when compared to March 2013. The growth percent for the month was 4.3%. Positives for the month of March include individual income tax gross revenue, up 21.5%, and sales and use tax gross receipts, up 8%. Corporate tax and insurance premium tax both declined in March. Individual income tax refunds provided the major net revenue drag, increasing $26.3 million or 16.6%. The 21.5% March increase in individual income tax equates to $60.3 million. However, this increase can be traced almost entirely to a tax due date change that impacted last year's farm tax returns. Farm tax returns are due at the federal and state level on March 1st each year. However, due to a delay in availability of federal tax forms, last year's farm return period was delayed until April 15 at the federal level, and Iowa followed suit. This change pushed $50 to $70 million in income tax revenue out of March and into April last year. So this year, March looks that much better in comparison. In return, individual income tax comparisons for April this year will be disadvantaged and appear lower than is actually the case. The growth in individual income tax refunds is expected as Iowa enacted 2 major tax credit changes that are leading to refund increases this year. Cash fiscal year 2014 year-to-date has produced a net revenue decrease of $69 million or negative 1.5%. Adjusting for the known farm return timing issues, the actual decline through March is more like negative 2.6%. The March Revenue Estimating Conference set the comparable net revenue growth rate for 2014 at negative 2.6%, represented by the green line on this graph. The Federal Department of Labor Bureau of Labor Statistics publishes monthly employment numbers for every state, and they do so through 2 employment series. One series is called the Household Survey because the data collected involves interviewing members of selected households as to whether the working age members of that household are employed or seeking employment. It is that series that produces the state's unemployment rate. The other series is called by several names, including the Non-Farm or Employer or Establishment series. The data source for this series is initially surveys returned by selected employers reporting the number of employees they had on a specified day of each month. The results of the employer surveys are later compared to the number of employees all employers report on their quarterly unemployment tax return. Each year, the Department of Labor uses the quarterly unemployment insurance reports to adjust the survey results to actual employment levels. This adjustment procedure is called benchmarking, and the results for state-level data are released in March of each year. This year's revisions produced modest changes to the most recent 18 months of data, with year-over-year non-farm job numbers now averaging 2,500 higher than the data prior to benchmarking indicated. Most of the adjustment was in the last 5 months of 2013, where the estimate of the number of jobs in Iowa increased more than 10,000 each month. The household data series was also revised since the end of 2013, and the revisions there were much more significant. This graph depicts the changes to the estimate of employed persons as reported through that household survey. That series experienced revisions back to January of 2009, with significant positive adjustments to the data for calendar year 2011 through 2013. The survey results now indicate that the number of employed Iowans was as much as 36,000 higher than originally reported, with the most significant upward revisions during the months of July 2012 through January of 2013. The two employment series are completed in different manners and are designed to measure two related but conceptually different things. The household series measures the number of people who consider themselves employed. The non-farm series measures the number of jobs that are filled, and that series excludes several forms of employment. We should expect the two series to track fairly closely, but we should not expect them to produce the same results. After this year's round of adjustment, the two series track fairly closely in terms of employment growth, and both series are currently indicating employment growth of around 26,000 compared to last year, a growth level that compares very favorably to growth of the past 10 years. With the latest benchmarking, the non-farm data show that Iowa job numbers now exceed the previous jobs peak set prior to the last recession. Thank you very much for your interest in Iowa General Fund revenue. Goodbye, and please check out the next monthly video memo in early May.